Hello everyone, it's Paul Driscoll here, aka The Drisk. Now today I want to cover a real personal favourite of mine, and that's Buggy Boy on the Amiga. I remember first seeing the game at a friend's house, on his Amiga and the 10-star bundle. The 10-star bundle, incidentally, was 10 really good games sold with the Amiga 500 before Commodore started to do their own official gaming bundles. Of those 10 games, this was my favourite game in that pack, and it's gone on to be my favourite racer on the Amiga. Now when I tell people that Buggy Boy is my favourite racer on the Amiga, many people, probably quite rightly, scratch their heads, convinced that I'm losing it and rightly quoting Lotus, Jaguar, Vroom, No Second Prize and Formula 1 as evidence of the fact that I am losing my marbles. But for me, Buggy Boy is genuinely my favourite racer on the Amiga, and definitely it's even in my top 10 all-time racers on any format. Released on the Amiga in October 1988 by Elite, it was shortly after the phenomenal 8-bit versions had been released in January that same year. Incidentally, the game is also known as Speed Buggy in the US, and it's a port of a little-known arcade game by Tatsumi, released in 1985. In the game, you race a buggy against the clock of one of 5 race courses. There's off-road, north, east, south and west, and you can choose at any time which one you want to race on. On the home versions there's no other fellow racers to contend with, but there's plenty of obstacles strewn all over the place to impede your race. The racing and handling is sublime in this game, and it's really good fun. But the genius of the game is the scoring system. Flags and slalom gates offer score, or much needed time, for riding through or over them. And as you collect the flags in the colour order shown on the top right of the screen, then the flags will start to flash and you gain a bigger score for all those you collect within that time they're flashing. The game's full of neat tricks and things like that, such as if you hit a small slanted rock or a tree stump, then your buggy goes on 2 wheels. This is tougher to control, but it allows you to fit through smaller gaps and crucially gives you more points for flags and gates you run through on 2 wheels. The same goes for jumps. Any items collected mid-air will also reward extra points. Then you have score boosting footballs dotted around, many disguised as rocks that need to be learned by the racer. All of these need to be booted to get even more mega scores. And then when you finally complete a track, the game will multiply your score by any of the remaining time to make your final score. It's this wonderful, sublime, flexible scoring system that really makes the game for me. As each time I get my final track's score, I'm setting off again, convinced I could just do that little bit better. And my word, if you get some like-minded people around for some co-op couch play, this is a great racing game to do with everyone trying to beat each other's scores. Now, the game is rightly fondly loved on the C64, but back in the day, the Amiga was the only version that I'd personally played. Although I do have a fuzzy memory as a kid going to Blackpool to see the Christmas lights, or some such thing as that, and being excited about coming across the game in the arcade that I had on my Amiga. But you know, I've tried that arcade game then, and I also got a chance again to try it at the Wolverhampton Retro event last year, where they had a stand-up arcade cabinet of Speed Buggy. And you know what? I think the Amiga version is far more fun and playable than the original arcade cabinet. Mostly I think the handling on the arcade isn't quite right, or at least I'm not used to the arcade version of the handling. And also the other buggies that are on the tracks of the arcade, I think messes with the purity of what the home ports do. So all in all, I think Elite did an amazing job of converting this game. Actually, with that in mind, hats should really be doffed towards the 2 people who made this home conversion on the Amiga. Martin W. Ward, who also did the Amiga conversions of Paperboy, Commando, Live and Let Die and Italia 90, and also Richard Frankish, who's gone on to an illustrious career originally doing Amiga conversions for Paperboy, Space Harrier, Ghost and Goblins, and then has gone on to do loads of games, culminating recently from actually working as lead programmer on Rockstar and working on such games as Red Dead Redemption, LA Noire and even Grand Theft Auto 5. I love it when I see old school programmers such as this that are still in the game and so prolific. It's great to see. So there you go. It's a classic racer that is so much fun to play, and it's usually the first thing I crank up when I go to my Amiga and have a few moments to kill. But enough about what I thought about it. What did reviewers back in the day think about the game? Well, Zap magazine gave the game 92% and said, "I must say I think the C64 version is the best racing game around." So I was holding my breath, don't try this at home kids, in anticipation of the Amiga conversion. I am not disappointed. Amiga Buggy Boy retains all the 8-bit playability, and if anything gains a lot due to its fantastic authenticity to the arcade original. The only graphical differences to the Tatsumi coin-up are the small reduction in buggy size and the marginally slower screen update. These differences, already minor, aren't noticed when involved in the totally absorbing races, and the short of a steering wheel, gear stick and accelerator pad is just like playing the arcade game. Sound too is faithful to the original. I was actually swaying in my seat when trying to coax a buggy around the curves. It's that good. £25 isn't really an amount of money to spend lightly, but you can buy Buggy Boy safe in the knowledge of dosh well spent. The Games Machine magazine gave the game 89% when it was re-released on the budget $9.99 Encore label. And they said, although there aren't any opposing vehicles in Buggy Boy, there's still plenty to do in the game. Dodging obstacles, negotiating curves is enough to fill the stages, often more than enough. Then there's the flags and point gates to divert you from the path. Interaction with obstacles is useful. Logs to make the buggy jump and tree stumps to make it run on two wheels. Useful to get through narrow gaps in walls and barriers. And then there's the infamous football to hit for bonus points. In short, the best budget racer available. Advanced Computer Entertainment gave the game 833 out of 1,000, and they said the graphics show off the Amiga's capabilities nicely, with lots of smooth, fast action. The buggy is very responsive. It accelerates quickly and is animated well. Its initial appeal is high and it's great fun to play, but there are two problems that drag it down a little. It's a little bit too easy to beat, and with the recent spate of outrun type games, it has aged quite rapidly as a game format. Still, it's a lot of fun, but it won't last long. Amiga Computing gave the game 81%, and they said, nifty sound effects, jolly jingles, bright colours, clean and cute graphics, fast and smooth action, and a well-varied content makes Buggy Boy a joy to play. The challenge of completing the courses and then trying again and again to better your score ensures that this is a game that will not be consigned to the attic. A lively and lovely non-violent game. Nice one, Elite. Finally, Amiga User International also gave the game 8 out of 10, and they said it would have been too much to expect Buggy Boy to come up to the standards of the coin-up in terms of speed, but a great job has been done. Control is responsive and everything moves fast enough to be convincing. I never found the coin-up particularly appealing next to the likes of Enduro Racer and Outrun, but in its Amiga format it makes a much stronger impression. So there you go. I think they pretty much agreed with me that this is a classic Amiga game and definitely one deserving of your time. So until next time, see you later.